This is TWiT.
This Fortnite mess. So first of all, last week we talked about the so-called man in the disk attacks. Again, maybe it was last week or the week before. Anyway, in the last couple of weeks, this was the vulnerability which had come to light, where many apps were staging themselves in external storage, which many Android devices have. It's a shared resource, and it's that sharing of the resource that creates the problem, because many apps have overlapping access to that shared resource, creating the so-called man in the disk attacks. So it turns out that the extremely popular is it a first-person shooter, Leo? I've never looked at what it actually is. I just know it's
battle royale. You go in, and 100 other people go in, and last man standing wins. Yeah, it's kind of a first-person shooter. Special kind. So Google takes a 30% cut of all revenue generated by apps downloaded through the Google Play Store. And as you have often observed on the TWiT network, Leo, I've heard you talking about Fortnite. Actually, it's about Fortnite itself is free, but they make money, like a ton of money, selling other stuff in the game. Yeah. So over on iOS, with where Fortnite has a player base of, it's estimated between 125 and 150 million users. I think that's maybe across both platforms. During the first 10 days of Season 5, the iOS release netted Epic Games, the publisher of Fortnite, $2 million per day. $2 million per day. So the total mobile revenue on iOS between its March 15th release and the end of July was $150 million. Since there's no other method of distributing apps in the Apple ecosystem other than the Apple Store, Epic Games had no choice but to hand over a piece of their action to Apple. But not so on Android. Epic Games has elected to bypass Google and the Play Store, and to teach how to and encourage people, because there's no other way to obtain this latest Fortnite, how to sideload Fortnite by downloading an APK from Fortnite's own website. So this, of course, requires instructing people to push past all the sideloading warnings present on Android devices. And the big worry among the security community is that this could have the effect of encouraging and normalizing the sideloading process and behavior, and pave the way to additional Fortnite clone malware. And of course, we've previously talked about how there were Fortnite cheat add-ons that have been malicious and have hurt people. So it turns out that on top of this, that is, that Fortnite has decided to sideload in order to not give Google a piece of their substantial action on the Android platform, because it's possible. Fortnite is one of the apps vulnerable to this man-in-the-disk attack that we've been talking about, which the researchers at Checkpoint recently made clear. Google, maybe being a little miffed at Fortnite for encouraging sideloading, did not give Epic a 90-day window to fix after it came to light that the Fortnite installer was vulnerable to hijacking through man-in-the-disk attacks. In Google's posting, they wrote the Fortnite APK, which is com.epicgames.fortnite, is downloaded by the Fortnite installer to external storage. And then in the show notes, I just clipped out a chunk of directory listing showing all of the entries there. And then Google continues saying, any app with the write external storage permission can substitute the APK immediately after the download is completed and the fingerprint is verified. Google writes, this is easily done using a file observer. The Fortnite installer will proceed to install the substituted fake APK. On Samsung devices, the Fortnite installer performs the APK install silently via a private Galaxy Apps API. This API checks that the APK being installed has the package name com.epicgames.fortnite, but does nothing else. Consequently, the fake APK with a matching package name can be silently installed. If the fake APK has a target SDK version of 22 or lower, it will be granted, that is, this potentially malicious fake APK will be granted all permissions it requests at install time. This vulnerability allows an app on the device to hijack the Fortnite installer to instead install a fake APK with any permissions that would normally require user disclosure. Okay, so in response, unhappily, immediately, Epic released version 2.1. And as I said, Epic is clearly unhappy with Google's short notice. They said actually it was Tim Sweeney at Epic who tweeted, "We asked Google to hold the disclosure until the update was more widely installed."
Oh, you can see why that's not going to happen, though.
Yes.
They should, the minute, because it's out there. It's happening.
Exactly. So Tim said Google refused creating an unnecessary risk for Android users in order to score cheap PR points, is what Tim at Epic tweeted.
Really?
Google defended their timing, saying that their own instrumentation had shown that most Fortnite users had already updated to version 2.1. So anyway, much has been made of this, and a lot of coverage in the press has been unhappy with Epic's decision. I mean, it's difficult to be when you consider the amount of money that Epic is talking about. On the other hand, they're only making the money because Google has created the platform.
And I think you're risking your customers' safety to make some more money. And now, was there already an exploit in the wild? I mean, it seems to me that the reason Google had to go public, well, I don't know. I mean, is to tell people to stop sideloading. Or maybe there were no exploits going on?
Well, this doesn't prevent sideloading. It was that Fortnite's loader.
No, I understand, but I mean, the reason they exposed it is because people were actively at risk right now, right?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
But I mean, were there people taking advantage? My sense was that it had already happened, that there were some.
It was essentially a 0 day.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you got to tell people. So they stop doing it until it's fixed.
Yes. Okay, and immediately get the word out.
I mean, imagine if Google didn't tell anybody and people were getting infected right and left. Oh, well, we wanted responsible disclosure so that Epic could fix it. Well, that's not responsible. That's irresponsible, I think.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Epic's just cheesed because they did the wrong thing and they got bit.
Well, and as we talked about when we were talking about this whole man of the disk problem, Google does clearly state that, for example, apps should do what Epic 2.1 now does, which now does. But they've always said this, that if you're going to use external storage, make very sure that you're actually installing the APK or whatever it is, like that you can trust what it is that is in that store. And Epic just wasn't. No. They were like, download some more Fortnite stuff and let's just suck it right in. And, this really did open them to the hack. And, of course, the security community is upset because the problem is this, sideloading is dangerous because you are training people to push past all of the warnings that Google has saying, we haven't been able to check this. We don't know what this is you're loading. You need to be really sure. And here Epic is widely distributing to tens of millions, if not more, users their app. Not only was it insecure, but they're encouraging the circumvention of the Google Play Store. So be interesting to see how this plays out. Yeah.
It's exactly why we thought it was a bad idea to do the sideload.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.